Driven by ambition and hubris, the Athenians set their sights across the sea, on the distant shores of Sicily. They envisioned a new empire in the west, a vast addition to their dominion that could cripple their Spartan enemies from afar. But what began as a grand conquest would soon become a story of misjudgment, betrayal, and tragedy. This is the tale of the Sicilian Expedition, a pivotal turning point that would shape the fate of Athens. Following the uneasy truce of the Peace of Nicias in 421 BCE, Athens and Sparta remained at odds. Although officially at peace, both sides continued to build alliances and harbor resentment. For Athens, the Sicilian expedition represented an opportunity to expand influence beyond Greece, with the island of Sicily, especially the prosperous city of Syracuse, as their target. The Athenians believed that by conquering Sicily, they could gain a powerful position, weaken Sparta's allies, and secure the resources needed to dominate Greece entirely. The campaign, however, was not without controversy. When Athenian strategists proposed the expedition to the assembly, opinions were divided. Leading the charge was Alcibiades, a charismatic but controversial figure whose ambition knew no bounds. He argued that the conquest of Sicily would ensure Athens' supremacy for generations. On the other hand, Nicias, a respected general and peace advocate, warned against stretching Athenian forces too thin and believed it was a reckless gamble. Despite his cautions, the assembly was swayed by Alcibiades' persuasive vision, and the decision was made. Athens would launch the largest fleet in its history across the Mediterranean to conquer Sicily. In 415 BCE, the expedition set sail, with nearly 200 ships and thousands of soldiers, led by Nicias, Alcibiades, and another general, Nicias. Their destination, Syracuse, however, before the fleet even reached Sicily, a shocking scandal rocked Athens. Alcibiades was accused of defacing religious statues throughout the city. The charges were severe, and Alcibiades was summoned back to Athens for trial. Sensing he would be condemned, he defected to Sparta, leaving Nicias and Nicias to lead the expedition alone. His betrayal would have lasting consequences, as Alcibiades would now aid the Spartans, revealing Athenian plans and weaknesses. Upon arrival in Sicily, the Athenian forces attempted to besiege Syracuse. At first, their efforts showed promise, with the Athenians building siege walls and beginning to cut off the city from supplies. However, Syracuse was a well-defended city with strong leadership. Under the guidance of Hermocrates, the Syracusans defended their city fiercely, employing clever tactics and calling for reinforcements. Over time, the tide began to turn as the Syracusans, bolstered by the arrival of Spartan aid, launched counterattacks that wore down the Athenian forces. Back in Sparta, Alcibiades urged the Spartans to send support to Syracuse and to establish a permanent base in Attica, the heart of Athenian territory. Under his influence, Sparta took aggressive action. They dispatched the general Gylippus to aid Syracuse, whose arrival marked a decisive turning point. Gylippus was a brilliant tactician, and his presence revitalized the Syracusan resistance. With his leadership, Syracuse began pushing back against the besieging Athenians, turning the siege into a grueling stalemate. As the siege dragged on, the Athenians became increasingly desperate. The situation worsened when their second fleet, meant to bring reinforcements and supplies, was destroyed by the Syracusan navy. Trapped, exhausted, and out of options, Nicias and his troops attempted a last, desperate escape by land, but they were pursued by Gylippus and the Syracusans, who cut down or captured the retreating Athenians. The survivors were thrown into the stone quarries, where they faced starvation, disease, and death. The Sicilian expedition ended in a catastrophic failure for Athens. Thousands of Athenian soldiers perished, their fleet was obliterated, and morale in Athens plummeted. This disaster sent shockwaves across Greece, shattering the myth of Athenian invincibility and emboldening their enemies. Sparta, realizing the extent of Athenian weakness, prepared to launch a renewed offensive that would drive the Peloponnesian War to even darker depths. The Sicilian Expedition was a lesson in overreach, a tragic reminder of the dangers of hubris and ambition. What Athens had envisioned as a triumph became one of the most devastating military defeats in Greek history. This disaster marked the beginning of the end for the Athenian Empire, as they faced insurmountable odds in the remaining years of the Peloponnesian War. Stay tuned for the next chapter of the Peloponnesian War, where Athens, despite its massive losses, struggles to regain footing against a relentless Spartan assault in the final stages of this brutal conflict. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history of the Peloponnesian War, please like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us continue exploring these epic tales from history. Let us know which battles you'd like us to cover next, and we'll see you in the next episode of Historyologue.